Okay, we're out at this, here's a standard counterbalance model. We're going to do a pre-use inspection on this unit. Typically, if I was driving this unit at a work site, my inspection would actually begin before I got to the unit. As I approach the machine, when I get to about this stage, I'm 10-12 feet away from it, I'm already looking at the machine for any obvious damage. I can see from here that the brake is set. That's good for me to know. And I'm looking underneath it for any kind of leakage, puddles, fluids, oil, coolant, that type of thing. And another very important consideration is, am I in a place where I can do this inspection safely? Now out here I happen to be in a parking lot where there's nowhere or nothing around for, yards and yards. But if I was in a busy workplace, there could be vehicle traffic going through here. I could be putting myself in danger just trying to get an inspection done. So if that were the case, I'd want to take the machine somewhere where I could do this safely. And that certainly is the case here. So let's walk up to the machine here. Like I say, as I approach, I'm going to make sure that the brake is set here. I know that I'm going to be in front of it, behind it. I do not want this thing rolling while I'm checking things out. So that brake is on. It's in neutral as it should be. Okay, and while I'm here, I may as well start looking at things. This is my overhead guard, as we talked about. There's no evidence of damage. The weldments look good. Everything looks straight, clean. There's a few scratches, but nothing to worry about. This particular grate here is actually the air intake for the engine. So we sure don't want to get any debris or anything over this that's going to plug it and possibly choke the engine and cause it to stall. The engine's going to take in air. This particular gas-powered model is going to take in air to burn the fuel. So we want to make sure that's clear. Let's move around this way now. We'll stop here at the tire. Okay, so I'm just looking at the condition of the tread, the sidewall, looking for, gashes and this type of thing. If it were a pneumatic tire, I'd be looking at the, if it's, got the proper amount of air in it, that type of thing. All the lug nuts are in place and tight, right? The studs are in place. I've been at work sites where there's been 3 lugs missing from one wheel. And this is the type of thing that can happen if you don't check regularly. Things just get away on you. So have a look. You're not going to know unless you look. Okay, so the tire, studs, lugs, everything looks pretty good there. I'm going to have a look in behind the wheel here to see if there's any debris or strapping, shrink wrap, anything that's going to get wrapped around the axle and possibly cause a mechanical problem. Right? And I don't see anything. It looks pretty clear there. I'm happy about that. The tilt cylinder while I'm here, looking for any leakage of hydraulic fluid. Really, there's not much else to look for. You can look on the cylinder rod itself. That's shiny. It's just like it should be, nice and shiny like that. Any nicks or cuts or scratches on that could cause trouble as it goes in and out, as it might cut that seal that's there and allow a hydraulic fluid leak to occur. In behind the mast here, I'm looking at the main lift cylinders to see if they're wet, and well, I'm actually looking to see if they're dry. The chains, the hoses, in behind the mast for debris, anything that strikes me as wrong. Okay, to put it as simply as I can. Moving around to the front of the machine here, we'll look at the backrest. This backrest is a bolt-on accessory, so we want to make sure they're on there tight. I usually like to give it a good shake just to make sure it's secure, just like that. Okay, the backrest itself looks to be in great shape. It's not bent or twisted. I'm looking at the fork blades here now. First of all, I'll take my foot, not my hand, but my foot, just rub it along the blade, see if there's any burrs or imperfections that might get hung up on a pallet or a load. I'm looking at the spacing of the forks. I notice here I've got one notch open on the carriage, one notch over here, so I know they're nice and equally spaced. The locking pins are down and in place, locked into the slots of the carriage. Okay, and the fork ratings here, 1250 by 600, and this one's the same. That's a metric measurement, so that's 1250 kilograms by 600 millimeters, which converts to about 2,700 pounds by 24 inches. So if you add up those two capacities, they should be at least equal to what it says on the plate, if not more than. If not, then we've got a problem. Our forks are not rated for that machine, but they are in this case, as you'll see in a moment when I show you the plate. Okay, now looking at the inner works of the mast here, the main cylinder, the chains are lubricated, they're adjusted properly. The hoses look good, they're not all torn up and see the braiding through them and that type of thing. Inside the channels, it's clear, right? There's nothing in there that's going to cause a problem, and I don't see any evidence of damage. Okay, right outside of the roller bearings, just generally, again, just general stuff. Okay, we'll come around to this side of the machine now. We've got another drive wheel here. We'll look at the tires, the lugs, the rim, the lugs and studs. Okay, the axle cap here, in behind the wheel for any debris, anything wrapped around the axle. Again, tilt cylinder, leakage, the cylinder rod condition, and the hosing and works on this side of the mast behind it. Okay, so again, this one looks really good. And you know, as I'm going, I'm eyeballing all the decals everywhere on the machine too. Here I can see one warning me of a crushing hazard, so I don't want to put my hand in there while it's operating. There's tags and decals all over this thing, so we want to make sure we note those. This model has some lights here, external lights that are mounted on it. I want to make sure that they're not broken, right, that they're ready to go. I'll check that they actually work in a moment when I get